All right, we're back for another episode of Fun Football Podcast. My name is Izac Valenti. I've got a couple of awesome guests tonight. I'm really excited. I've got James Patrick, host of the Celebrity Forum podcast, and the description on your bio, I'm going to try to do it justice. There's so many things on there, but you have been on, and I've watched this, you've been on TMZ Live, you've been on Fox TV, you've been on NFL, you've done stuff for MLB, ESPN, CBS Sports, iHeartRadio. You're on Odyssey, however you say it. You're part of the Celebrity Forum podcast. I watched you do your interview with Emmett Smith. James Patrick, how you doing, man?
Great. Wow. I feel embarrassed. I don't really like saying all those things, but I guess you have to promote yourself. So
Yeah, next time you come on, I'll just be like, James Patrick hosts a Celebrity Forum. Let's do that.
there you go.
And we've got Khaled. Dude, tell us, everybody, about 40/40 Vision. I was watching y'all's YouTubes today, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I watched one of your more recent shows from last week. Tell everybody a little bit about your show.
Yeah, so it's called the 40/40 Vision podcast, or under the 40/40 Vision Sports umbrella. Our idea is, we're trying to be a sports history podcast, so we're trying to keep the past alive. And one of the big focuses is evergreen content. So I know a lot of podcasts like this one, for example, they try to focus on things that are happening in the here and now, which obviously is very exciting, keeping folks informed and all that. But we wanted to kind of treat our podcast almost like a library, right? So there's books on the shelf or a magazine on the shelf that is relevant for a week, a month, a year, 5 years, whatever it is. So you can go and listen to our first episode or our 150th, and they're all pretty relevant. We like to mix it up by doing some redrafts. We do a lot of what ifs. So like the top 5 what ifs in the history of the Chicago Bears. Maybe you and me can do a Packers one day. We do a lot of redrafts. I know that'll be a lot of fun. And we also do, some athlete and, front office interviews and stuff like that. So we just try to have a lot of fun and keep the sports history alive.
I like it, man. Very cool. That's awesome. My buddy, he's not on tonight, but when I bring you guys back on, his name is Med, and he's even more into sports history than I am. Awesome historian of the game. I've had an actual NFL historian on, and it was an honor. And I love that you're focusing on different elements, because I think that it's good to keep that element of the game alive, because we wouldn't be where we are now you could look at U.S. history, you could look at the NFL. It wouldn't be what it is without the greats before it. Our country, everything. You could focus on any element of history. So I love it. James.
Good idea.
I wanted to, I gave you a huge spotlight there. Can you quickly tell everybody a little bit about yourself and the Celebrity Forum podcast before we get going?
To be really honest with you, I was in the medical field for 20 some years, and I was an administrative director, respiratory care, and I started my own business, and I was totally into ER, ICU, all that trauma stuff. And
okay.
I loved all of it. And then I started a sleep and a cardiopulmonary lab and did that. And I started writing for politics, and that was a little bit scary. So I stopped doing that. And then I started writing for sports, and I was going to quit because I didn't think anyone really I was working with, I'm not going to say the company I was working for, no one was really motivated. They just kind of hung out. So I wrote an article on Ken Stabler's passing, and it went viral. And all of a sudden, I was going to quit. That was going to be my last article. And all of a sudden, ESPN's calling me, ABC, University of Alabama. And I started doing radio all throughout the country. ESPN, I got to do 25-minute interview on ESPN. And I mean, it was unbelievable, the things that were happening. So I just started doing podcasts, Florence and I. My partner, Florence, amazing person. And we had such a long day today, so she's kind of resting a little bit.
You're good. No worries.
But yeah, we just started doing it, and it just literally took off. And we started marketing for celebrities, and now it's just blown up. We have celebrities. We did an NFL celebrity today. I don't want to give it away, but we're going to Florence did give it away. We did Rodney Pete today. We interviewed Rodney Pete and his wife,
all right.
Holly. So we've just been real blessed with all the things that we've done. I got to speak to Mick Foley. We're interviewing it's humbling to have people like that want to be in your show and ask to be on your show. We even had Taylor Swift's team. We did some marketing for her. So, it's just kind of a little bit of a whirlwind. You don't want to really say anything because for me, it's uncomfortable. I don't like marketing myself. I like marketing other people. But, then I met Khaled and I was so impressed by him. It's in this business, I see everybody kind of getting into it for the wrong reasons and wanting glory and wanting money. And he seemed to be very genuine. And I think he's very talented. And I think I really love his vibes. So he and I do a podcast on Wednesdays at 2:10 p.m. Cheap plug. And it's really, every show gets more and more views. So it's just kind of, I just really am proud of him and all the things that he's doing. And I love the historical. I'm a huge history buff in all things. So I'm just really excited. And Florence really is the engine that makes it go. I get a lot of the accolades sometimes because I do, a lot of the research and sometimes like that, but she's really the engine that makes it go. I just kind of do my thing. So she's a very special person and I love her and she's the greatest. So I'm very blessed. I just kind of show up and talk and I guess do an okay job. And so everything's going okay. We're copacetic. No one's bothering us.
How long have y'all been at this?
3 years.
Wow. That's pretty
3.5
cool.
years.
By the way, she's watching right there. So
yeah,
I figured she would. So that's pretty cool. Oh man, that's awesome. And I like that you all do a show together. That's that's my favorite thing about this is meeting people. That's my favorite thing about it.
She's a teacher. She was a special ed teacher, and she did a little. She started doing celebrity people and started doing interviews, and she got to meet. I'm so bad on names. John Travolta's wife. She met her.
Kelly Preston,
and she did the Arquette family. She did an interview with Roseanne Arquette. So we've had some amazing people, and it's just been, we're so blessed and so lucky that people like us. And it's just kind of, like I said, I don't really I know everybody's like, I'm a, influencer. I'm the, we're just not that. We just want to do our thing and help people succeed. And we've had 2 really successful writers. We had Blake Shelton and Kelly Clarkson endorse our authors, and they got thousands of sales overnight. We made the papers. People have done interviews on us. So our marketing is our big thing. I've been marketing medicine and for a long time. So we kind of came over here and did the same thing. And Florence worked at a radio station in Connecticut, and she did a lot of marketing and a lot of things. So I guess we're okay. We stay in our lane. We don't bother anybody, and we just kind of do our thing. And as long as we're happy and succeeding, and we love everyone getting our vibe and succeeding with us. So as we say, when we're a guest on a show, we don't have hosts. We don't have guests, we have friends. And some of the celebrities have become some of our dearest friends. So Amy Trask, a dear friend, Mike Detillier, and so many other people. Emmett Smith has been so nice to us. So it's pretty amazing. 2 people from the Hall of Fame on the board of the Hall of Fame have become friends. So I'm telling you, it's just, we don't like to really talk it because people get sick of seeing other people doing so good sometimes. And we still have a long way to go. We're nowhere near where we want to be, but that's kind of in a nutshell.
That's kind of my direction. I'm a teacher too. I actually teach special ed.
Oh, wow.
8th grade math. Actually, that's my job.
God bless you.
I almost went to school for broadcasting. So this is hitting that itch, and I don't want to brag. It's starting to grow. I've had some NFL players on this year, and That's my dream, is I had Blaine Bishop on and Quentin Jammer. And my dream is to bring a current player on. Had the head coach of William and Mary on a couple months ago. Just had a Steelers sports reporter on a few weeks ago, right before all the life
Oh,
stuff.
that's fantastic.
And you know what's cool is it's cool to like say that, but what was more fun was actually having the conversation with them and all the insights. And gosh, it's a dream. It really is. I'm enjoying it. I just want to keep seeing where it goes. I've had my dad on the show, like I brought him on. It's just fun. And so, you know what? Let's get going.
Let's do it. We got a lot to talk about.
I've got some more non-NFL questions to me. It doesn't always have to just be NFL based. But
yeah,
tell me about your NFL fandom. Khaled, wait, I gotta spin it back to you. What is your team, man? I see New York.
That's just a hat.
Okay, good. I was like, that's be a rough season.
Yeah, I know, right? People get confused. I like to wear different kinds of hats. I probably have 100 hats. I have maybe 300 jerseys, so definitely not just my team. But I am a Raiders fan, unfortunately.
Sorry,
it's been a rough, I'm in my late 30s, so I've been a fan since like the late 90s. I was, about 9-10 years old.
Yeah, about the
I
same
grew
age
up
as
in
me.
the Bay Area. Yeah. I grew up in the Bay Area, and it was, either Niners or Raiders, and they're both pretty good at the time. But I decided to be a Raiders fan. I like the colors. I like Rich Gannon, and that's basically it. Yeah, so it's
Tim
been
Brown?
a long,
Tim Brown,
Tim
Jerry
Brown,
Rice,
Charles Woodson. But
Charles Woodson. Go.
Yeah, my favorite player at the time, for sure. You're a kid. You're 10 years old. All you really focus on is the quarterback, right?
Absolutely.
So that was my guy, Rich Gannon.
Oh, and yeah, I mean, they were great. They just ran into a historically amazing Bucs defense in 02. I remember that. But I mean, Rich Gannon was on fire at the end of his career. And Jerry
MVP.
Rice was still performing. He was. And Jerry Rice was still good at 40. And Tim Brown, I think people forget, was a pretty awesome receiver. So I don't blame him. And you know what? If they can get the quarterback situation figured out, Genty might be special. They just got to surround him with some players.
The NFL it's worst to first every year. So why not us next year? Who knows?
We were talking about it too. I mean, the level of parity, there's a few teams that clearly need some talent, but the talent at the top is probably, the gap is shorter than it's ever been. James, who's your team?
The Raiders too, and my father. I'm a lot older than you guys, but well, not too much older, but I'm older. And my father, as a kid, would go to the Raiders games in 1960, and he moved here from South Dakota. And as a kid, he went to the games. The Raiders actually went to restaurants because no one would go to the games, and they would give the tickets away. So they would play at Candlestick Park. And before they got Frank Ewell Field, which was they called, Bob Trumpy once called it the biggest erector set. It was a little scary stadium in Oakland, and then they obviously made the Coliseum. We were born and bred Raider fans. When I had my medical business, we actually got hired by the Raiders to do some of the oxygen. So I got to meet Al Davis. It was classic Al Davis. He shook my hand and told me, "You better do a good job." So it wasn't like, "Thank you for being a fan," or "I'm honored, Mr. Davis." He said, "You better do a good job." So he was totally. But we've met a lot of the old Raiders. Some of them, unfortunately, passed away. But we still are friends with the Bill Pianos and some of the other ones, and it's just we lost Cliff Branch, and I helped out in getting a little bit, just a tiny bit, to get Ken Stabler in the Hall of Fame. So we did a drive for that. So
that's pretty cool.
Since the Raiders moved, my allegiance has kind of died a little bit. I just kind of like football. And I watch football. I hope everyone does well, but the game's changed so much that it's just not the same to me. So I'm kind of more of a fan of the game than of one team. So
I get that, because I mean, my Packers let me down every year for the last 15 years. They find a way, so I end up having to root for somebody else in the Super Bowl, even though they've been competitive. And now I'm in a weird transition period where I'm dealing with a Jordan Love, who I can't tell if he's that guy after dealing with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre my whole life. It's a weird period to be in right now, but they fielded a pretty good roster. I can only say I'm pretty happy overall. But the offense is pretty banged up right now. It's been a wild season. Like, I mean, my team started like on top of the world. We beat the Lions. We smacked them around, and then we smacked around the Commanders. And I'm sitting here thinking my team's the best team in the league, and then we can't beat Cleveland, and we tie Dallas. No offense to Dallas, but it's been a weird spot. We hit my team in a second. What's the biggest thing you guys want to see with the Raiders moving forward? Do you want to see Pete Carroll stay? Do you want to see them draft a quarterback, offensive line? If you had one big move, what would it be?
Draft a quarterback. It's as simple as that. It's been It's been what 20 some, not 20 some years. I think when did Jamarcus Russell get drafted? 2007, I think.
Oh, you're right.
It's been a long time since they drafted a quarterback in the first round. I mean, Derek Carr was right on the cusp. I think he was like the 34th pick, something like that. So almost a first rounder. But since then, obviously, since Carr left, it's been a huge mess.
Good memory. That was good.
Okay, great.
07.
So that's a very traumatic time in my life. The Jamarcus Russell
it sticks in your brain. It sticks in your brain.
Yeah. So, I didn't expect them to draft a quarterback when Derek Carr was early in his career or anything like that. But I think in the last couple years, they've gone like this veteran route, trying to kind of paper over the cracks. Oh, Gardner Minshew, Jimmy G, in this case, Geno, and all that. It's like, just go out and draft a quarterback. I'm not really sold on anybody just yet. I know it's still early in the college season. We still got to do the combine and interviews and all that stuff. But just draft a quarterback. Give me something to look forward to seeing next year. Even if he doesn't start right away, just give me a quarterback to dream about in the next few years.
Especially because you got Brock Bowers and you guys need some receivers, but like there's you still have Max Crosby. There's some cornerstones. There's a lot of team building that's required, but at least you've got some pieces that other teams don't have.
Absolutely.
Brock Bowers and Ashton Genties don't grow on trees. James, what do you agree with on the quarterback? And I want to know your thoughts on Pete Carroll. Are you hoping he stays for a few more years?
No, I think it's not really even. The problem is when you get older, the more closed-minded you become. And when you're young, you're brash. You want to take chances. You want to do this. When you're 60 or 70, you are not changing. You are not all of a sudden going to go into the wing tee, or you're going to do 5 spreads. I mean, you're going to run what you run. You're going to be who you be. I hated the Geno Smith. I think Geno Smith's always been an average quarterback, but they always had a good running game and a good defense. So to me, we actually had a draft party. I kept my draft from the 90s. We were huge draft people. We had a draft party for 19 years at my half the time at my house, and then at another friend's house. We literally would take the day off. We'd have a couple hundred adult beverages, and then we'd get food, and our wives or women knew that was our day. That was Christmas to us. So we would drink and eat all day, and we would draft for our teams. So my drafts compared to the Raiders drafts, I actually got kicked out of a Raider group, the biggest Raider fan group at the time. I think it's still going. I was kicked out of the group for not liking the Jamarcus Russell pick. I was one of the few, and I was very boisterous about it, and I just got destroyed. One guy called me. He said, for someone to be so against it, you got to be a 49er fan. So you can't be in this group. So I just said, no, I'm just honest. And sure enough, I got lucky and got picked. But I'll never forget when Aaron Rodgers came to the Raiders, I was near tears because I saw Aaron at Cal, because I went to Cal for a short time and I saw him at Cal. He was amazing. And when he fell to the Raiders, I was so happy. And then they picked Fabian Washington. And I thought to myself, God help us all. Are you kidding me? They just had, a future Hall of Famer, and, they just dumped him. And I just thought that was just a horrible move. But they had so many drafts that they did bad.
And you can't. It's not just one.
Yeah, and Calvin Williams, and I mean they could have had Adrian Peterson. There were so many people that they could have had, and I kept track of the drafts every year for 19 years. And then finally the Raiders were doing so bad, I just quit it and just said, I can't handle this no more. So we stopped doing it, but it was so much fun. So in my way, I draft with, if you're not doing well, you have a lot of holes to fill, I trade down. If you are a good team and you just need one or two players, I trade up. I
Okay.
also look at, I don't pick a need. If I have a quarterback and I need a quarterback and my quarterbacks suck, I don't pick one in the first round just because I need one. I pick one if he's good enough. And to me, I'm a huge college football fan.
Okay.
I'm religious about watching it. I
Who's your
don't
team?
see Oklahoma.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
So I'm a big Sooner
like
fan. I was very rebellious. Whatever team my dad liked as a kid, I liked the opposite. So he was a big Nebraska fan. So I went to Oklahoma. But I don't see any of the quarterbacks that I really like. I know Sellers is the big sexy pick, but boy, he struggled. And Nussbaum was the big guy. Mateer, it seems like whoever's winning, Simpson, all these guys that start winning, all of a sudden they become the big pick and the big star. So to me, all the ones that I saw, I don't see anyone being a franchise quarterback. Now, I agree with Khaled. Pick someone in this, just because they're not a first round talent doesn't mean you don't pick. You pick them in the second or third round or even the fourth round. If I was drafting in the NFL, I would pick a quarterback every year. I don't care if I have a quarterback. I'll pick one every year. So that's kind of my thing. That's how I go about the draft.
I like that. That's a good mentality because, I would take the best prospect like you, and the Jamarcus Russell one. I didn't like him at the time either. It was 15, it was like, almost 20 years ago now. But I got to know, what were you against? It's okay, because I agreed. Like, I saw maturity issues, and I wondered if he could handle. It's kind of the same stuff with Caleb Williams, but he's starting to prove me a little bit wrong. I still want to see more. But why did you not like DeMarcus?
The things that I look at as a quarterback to me, and I'm not an expert in any way, I'm just a fan like you guys, but my thing is the things that I look at is, can you handle a rush, your pre-snap decisions, and are you accurate? Those are the three main things that I look at. What are the three things, and Khaled and I have talked about, what are the three things they look at now? Athleticism, size, and do you have a big arm? That's why 70, yep. That's why 70% of their picks are failing. Because to me, you look at Shadur Sanders. Now, he's very accurate as long as no one's around him. And so that's why you got to get people, get a great offensive line. He's not a guy that's going to be flipping and doing Mahomes and running around and throwing. No, he's a guy that needs time, and he holds on to the ball a long time. So you got to give him time. And that's the problem I'm seeing with Jamarcus Russell, is that, one, he could not read defenses. If the games that he lost that year, who did he struggle against? Auburn. They scored 7 points. They were the number one team. They scored 7 points against Auburn. Why? Auburn's defensive coordinator at that time was a pro-style defense. He struggled against the zone. And I just said, this is a horrible pick. I was so against it. He also struggled when he was rushed. You remember Jamarcus Russell was huge guy. But if he couldn't step up into that pass, he just wasn't accurate. And he was horrible for the Raiders. I mean, he in the top 10, and Khaled's probably seen it being a historian, is that he was picked as the number 2 worst draft pick of all time. So when you're missing guys like that, and you got the number 1 pick,
sets you back for a long time.
It's organizational stuff too. I mean, like with the Cowboys, they had the same problem with Jerry. At least he gets some stars and then sometimes keeps them, so they're adequate at least. But the Raiders have been, when your ownership, it's really difficult to have a successful NFL team. It's almost impossible when your ownership is the problem. The Packers actually lack an owner at times. I think it hurts them. They just have a CEO. It's a weird situation because they're unlike the other 31 NFL teams. But The ones that are run well typically have an owner that gets a GM that knows what he's doing, a la the Eagles, a la the Chiefs. And it's just like I work at a school. If the principal's bad, odds are it's going to filter down to the rest of the school. And it's the same thing with an NFL team. Like, they shouldn't be involved in a lot of the day-to-day decisions, but in essence, they are, because if they put the right people in charge, the blueprints, they filter down. And that's, I think, is the biggest problem with the Raiders. And I think, honestly, I know a lot of Bears fans. I've got one watching right now. And that's been their problem, is the Bears. He's got a good question for you guys. I'm going to hit this. His name is Peter. He's been on the show several times. Very nice guy. He said,
Hey, Peter.
Who do you think are the 3 biggest misses at the first overall pick from 2000 on? That's a heck of a question.
Can I just say Jamarcus 3 times?
Yeah, I was just going to say, look at the Raiders draft, and that's pretty. The Cleveland Browns too. I mean, you see a lot of teams that are struggling. I think there's so many of them. There's so many quarterbacks that have busted. So I'd have to look exactly to get my top 3, but the Raiders have had tons of people. Look at even Tyree Wilson. He'll have 1 or 2 good plays a game, but he didn't step up to be, I saw his rating, I think 2 weeks ago, it was 59% on PFF. So, I mean, there's just so many bad picks. And the problem is the NFL has changed. And like Khaled has said, it's a different day. Al Davis could get the 49ers, the Steelers, they could get a great Hall of Fame player as a backup. They could get him as a backup. And now you have the salary cap. So every team has a weakness. And the only way to bypass the salary cap is to use young players and to get young players on the cheap. Because if you're going to go through free agent market, you're going to get screwed, because what if one of them gets hurt? Now you're screwed. Look at Micah Parsons for the Packers. He gets hurt, the Packers are screwed, because he's making a boatload of money.
Unfortunately, we're a little screwed anyways, because we tied our money to Jordan Love, and we've got one of the worst receiving cores in the NFL, because there's always someone injured. I swear, I think we have one of the worst strength and conditioning coaches in the league, because our receivers there's always pretty much 2 injured every year.
It's like a rotating cast. Yeah.
I never even get to see them all. And Tucker Kraft was starting to break out. But when I look at the receiving cores in the rest of the NFL, I'm like, we're not there. But I'll hit the Packers in a minute, because James, you've been on a good, keep going, man. That was great. Sorry. I shouldn't have interjected at all.
No, I'm glad you did.
So his question is interesting, because I'm reading the number 1 picks. And to be honest,
good ones.
There's not a lot of busts. Here's the last several. Okay. Cam Ward, we don't know yet. We've seen flashes. Caleb Williams, we're starting to see flashes. Bryce Young is a bust to me, but he's still starting. And
he looked pretty good last week. 400, was it 400 yards? Something like that.
He can't be the biggest bust, even though he doesn't look like a Pro Bowl level player, but he's shown some flashes. To me, I don't think he's the guy, but he can't be the biggest bust.
No.
Trayvon Walker with the Jags had a
good.
10-sack season. Not great, but not awful. Trevor Lawrence, to me, is probably the worst player yet. But, I mean, he's won a playoff game. Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray is probably my biggest bust. I think he's terrible. I know he's from Oklahoma. I'm sorry, James. Baker Mayfield, there's a lot of good number 1 picks. Myles Garrett, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston still in the league. Jadeveon Clowney, Eric Fisher was awesome. Andrew Luck was great till he retired. Cam Newton made a Super Bowl. Sam Bradford was a bust, but he hung in the NFL. That's probably the biggest bust so far. Stafford, Jake Long, and then Jamarcus Russell. And then the only other ones that are
a bullet for Jamarcus by far.
Yeah, Courtney Browns and Mario Williams, Alex Smith.
So he's talking first overall pick.
Just number 1. It's got to be it's Jamarcus, Courtney Brown, who I think was like an all-time bust.
Sam Bradford.
And I guess Sam Bradford. Everybody else, I mean, a few years ago, people would have said Baker, but even he won a playoff game. So,
and look at Baker now. I mean, like, this year's been a little down, but his whole team's hurt. So
that's why
that's a good question. I like that one.
You can't really count out Bryce Young at this point, right? I mean, it's year 3 for him, and we're seeing that these guys, especially like when they're not coming in at 25 years old, like Bo Nix or Jaden Daniels, like you're like, you know what, these guys deserve some time to get acclimated.
These are some good points here. Jason's saying they got to give this Raiders GM and his staff some time. And I agree. We got to stop with and I do it too. I get a little mad sometimes, but we have to stop with you've had 1 year, you suck. Like, that's really rare that the person actually is that bad. Like, you need to be like 0-16, 1-16 level bad, where it's clear that they just made a mistake, because we need to give the quarterbacks and the GMs and the coaches more time, because if they have that continuity, typically they're going to end up being better in the long run. So I agree.
Yeah, I think the worst. Yeah, go ahead, Khaled.
No, I was going to say, I agree with him, at least on the GM. We need to give John Spytek at least a couple years. With Pete Carroll, I think James brought up a good point. Like, he's 74 years old. And I mean, I'm not ageist or anything, but I know that someone in their 70s is not grinding tape at 3-4 o'clock in the morning like a Sean McVay or Matt LaFleur, or
maybe Pete Carroll might be. He's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a ton of energy, but it's just like, I understood the logic behind it. I was a fan of the move. Like, okay, we need an adult in the room after Josh McDaniels. We need someone that's going to bring like a Super Bowl winning mentality, and obviously Pete has that resume. But at the same time, it's like the NFL is just skewing younger and younger when it comes to these head coaches. You look at the successful head coaches recently. Andy Reid is the outlier. Everyone else is in their 30s and 40s. Sean McVay, Mike Vrabel, Shanahan, LaFleur, Nick Sirianni. Like, all these guys are young and innovative. Ben Johnson, like all these dudes who are at the top of the league, with, again, the exception being Andy Reid. Maybe he's the exception that proves the rule, because everybody else around him is in their 30s and 40s and they're doing great. So I think the Raiders just need to hit on one of those guys.
I agree.
I think the big thing is the identity. I think if you look, Bryce Young is not he's an average quarterback to me. Trevor Lawrence has been a huge disappointment. Everyone had superstar written all over for him. He's been up and down. He's been an okay quarterback. But look at the NFL. Even with the rules making passing so easy, watch a 1970s game with the Raiders and Steelers. They would be arrested. Half the team would be arrested of each team. I saw one where Mel Blount hit Cliff Branch 10 yards out of bounds. He was at the bench and nothing happened. I mean, it was unbelievable what they did to each other and how they'd punch each other and hit each other out of bounds. And I mean, in the 60s probably was worse. So passing, you can't touch him. You could go over the middle. You could prance over the middle, where before, look at Sammy White against Jack Tatum in the Super Bowl. I mean, that was the norm in the 70s and the 80s even. And that's the thing, is passing is so easy, so much easier, and being a wide receiver is so much easier. There's no excuse to not be able to pass the ball. But I think the NFL did one thing wrong. They said passing is much easier, so we're just going to emphasize the pass. The defenses have caught up. You have to have, now I would have more of a balanced attack. That's why I think it was smart for the Raiders. I don't think Jenny's going to be a superstar, but I think he's going to be a very solid pro, and he's going to be very good. He's learning how to catch the ball. His blocking's brutal, but he could improve that. He's a hard worker, great attitude. So I think that will improve. But I think that's what's happened with the NFL. It's a copycat league. In the 80s, remember when the Redskins were winning Super Bowls with 2 tight ends? Everybody went to 2 tight end. Then everybody went into 3 and 4 wide receivers. Then the Mouse Davis with the run and gun and all the other stuff. Everybody copies everybody. But to me, I would rather have a balanced attack, more of a pro style offense. That's why I like Mike Vrabel. He loves the run game. He loves grinding it out. And that's what I would do. I would have a very balanced attack. I think that's why some of these young quarterbacks struggle so much. They're thrown in the line of fire because they're making so much money and they're so important. They don't have time to wait on the bench. They got to be thrown out there. Look how many years Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench for Brett Favre.
Jordan Love sat, and I think it helped him, but there's still some issues. But no, I think that is the way to do it. I don't think sticking the guy out there in the first, even 5 to 10 weeks is typically smart. The problem is some of the guys come in their rookie season like a Jaden Daniels and are super successful, but then they don't protect them well, and now you're seeing some injuries and that sophomore slump when people get tape on them and the defenses can catch up. Like you're seeing now, teams are having to every year, and it's not just one team, they're having to change the way they do it. Like the people, it's a copycat league. You nailed it with the Chiefs. They learned go to a 2-shell safety, and you can stop when the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill, and that slows it down. How they were able to get around it was they had one of the best tight ends in NFL history in Travis Kelce, but now he's aging. And even with weapons, the Chiefs offense without a legit running back is having problems catching up. That's just one team. But typically, I mean, the last few years, people are starting to figure it out. The teams that are successful have a powerful running back. They should get paid more than they are. I don't want to take the spotlight away from Khaled here. He said something interesting about the Patriots. Are you guys cool if we pivot to them? I want to talk about some teams in the AFC. And I want to ask about, some of those general questions like who you think the contenders are. But let's just do this. What are your thoughts? He talked about Vrabel. I'm going to go to James second here. I'll go last. Khalid, what's your thoughts on the Patriots and what the job Mike Vrabel has done with Drake May and the makeup of the roster? Just your overall thoughts on that team this season.
I mean, we shouldn't be surprised, right? I mean, Mike Vrabel was able to turn Tennessee into, I don't think anyone ever saw them as a legitimate Super Bowl contender, but they were always in the mix, right? Whether they had whoever was starting at quarterback for them, right? I mean, with Derrick Henry healthy, without him, I mean, we know he's a difference maker, but he was able to take a team with an average quarterback with a decent defense and turn them into an elite defense. And he was able to build a competitive team. And then you put him on a team like the Patriots that have been bad for the past few years. So they've been drafting at the top of every round. They've been drafting in the top 5 every year. And now they have a cornerstone quarterback. They have a cornerstone left tackle and Will Campbell. So you give him all this talent that he probably didn't have in Tennessee because he was too good to be stockpiling talent because they were always in the playoffs. And it's like, we already knew that he was a good coach. So I don't think any of this should surprise us. I know the Patriots, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about whether it was Belichick or Brady that gets all the credit for, the 20-year dynasty, but it's still an organizational sport. And if you have a good organization, like he talked about, if you have a good owner that's involved and you have the right people making the decisions from the top down, you're going to be competitive eventually. And, like I said, it shouldn't be a surprise that the Patriots are doing it. A lot of it has to do with their schedule, which is why the NFL is on a worst first type league, because if you have a good team and you finish last, you get to play a last place schedule. And that's definitely benefited the Patriots. They have some quality wins. I won't take that away from them. But those two factors, the schedule and the fact that Mike Vrabel is just a hell of a coach, I think none of us should be surprised by their success this season.
Also, the bump, I listen to Bill Simmons, so I'm stealing this from him. He's my favorite podcaster. Bill Simmons is great. I try not to steal much from what he says because I want to have my own show with my own takes. But the bump for a good head coach and good quarterback play, as good as Drake May was last year, his play has improved so significantly. And the coaching from Mayo to Vrabel is so vast. I feel bad for my Titans buddy because they never should let Vrabel go. That was a mistake, especially with the coach they just fired. That's worth sometimes 5 to 10 wins, and that's it right there. I don't know if they're a contender this season. I want to ask that question next. James, any other thoughts on the Patriots that you got that he didn't echo? I know you're going second here.
Khaled did a great job. I agree with what he said. I think what Vrabel has done is you have to realize that most of these quarterbacks run spread offenses in college. They run 4 and 5 wide receivers. They have all day to throw. I mean, they have 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw sometimes. So they are used to holding the ball forever. Cam Ward is finding out you can't hold the ball. He just holds it forever. I was listening to the radio, the Tennessee Titans radio, and the guy was literally saying, Cam, throw it. I mean, he would just hold it. And Drake May has the same issue with Shadir Sanders in college at North Carolina. In the games he struggled, he got rushed. and he is not good when he can't step up. And what they've done is they've done great at the offensive line. They've solidified, they
Absolutely.
have good running backs, and they put him in a lot of 3 and 5 step drops. They don't do, I think with Mayo, he was holding the ball, a lot of 5 and 7, a lot of long routes. And I think it was killing him because May was getting hit more. Now he doesn't get hit as much. He's learned to get the ball away because these young quarterbacks do not know how to throw the ball away. I am so sick of watching them take 3 and 4 yard losses without throwing the ball away. And it just drives me nuts. Love does that sometimes, and it
Oh
drives me
gosh.
insane.
He
Throw
wants to
the
throw it.
ball away.
He wants to throw it deep, and if he can't, he doesn't. My quarterback hardly ever throws a 7-yard pass. I would love to see
Yeah.
some of that. Like, it's at the line of scrimmage, or it's 15 to 20 to 40 yards downfield. I'd say only once or twice a game he's throwing in the intermediate range. It's like, I think there was 3 last game, and I was shocked, but there was like
Why
8
do you
drops
think
too.
that's
It's
why the
killing me.
Colts? Yeah, that's why the Colts are doing so good at quarterback, because they told him
Absolutely.
literally, you do not, I don't care if you could throw 80 yards. You do not throw 8 yards. 3 step drops, 5 and 10 yard passes, get rid of it. And that's
it's
why he's done so good.
And it's easy coaching stuff. I think that's why I think Love is
Yeah.
part of the problem. I think part of it's LaFleur, but I also think we need to go out and get a legit number 1 receiver, because like the Colts have Michael Pittman, but they also have Tyler Warren. They have solid receivers behind Pittman. They're not great, but they're decent. They've got different skill sets, but they've got a clear, not alpha number 1, but Pittman's pretty darn good. But you got Tyler Warren. The Packers had Tucker Kraft breaking out. Now without him, they don't know what to do. But the Colts, we can pivot to them. They've got Tyler Warren. You got Jonathan Taylor probably playing the best football of any player in the NFL this season. Like, I know quarterback's more valuable, but I don't know if anyone's playing their position as well as he is. So that just feeds Daniel Jones, because he's got good coaching, great support around him. Defense is playing solid. That team, I can't figure out how much they're going to need Jones in the playoffs because of how good Taylor is. They feel like a divisional round exit team to me. Like,
boy,
think
their offensive line is
it's
awesome.
it
They
is
are
really
difference.
good.
Yeah.
You got Nelson, and then you got difference makers, and you got Taylor. I wonder what the ceiling for a team with the Daniel Jones like quarterback is. I know he's playing great this year, but he's had a couple of bad games. And in the past, he had 2 solid seasons. He did win a playoff game, but it seemed like there was a ceiling. And I'm wondering what it is with this team. I can't figure them out. Let's go reverse order. James, do you see a Super Bowl contender? Do you think, I'm going to ask that question, do you think the Colts, the ceiling is a playoff winner too? Or do you think they get bounced immediately? What do you think?
I think they're a Super Bowl contender. That offensive
like
line and that defense is nails. I love how physical they are. I love how they play in your face. And that offensive line, if Daniel Jones passes more than 25 or 30 times in a game, they are toast. If they can run the ball and he could just kind of be a secondary person in that offense, you could hide him a little bit, because I love their offense now. It's quick passes. He doesn't have to even think. It's like 3 step drops, quick, and then pop it up the middle. I love the way that their coaches are coaching them. And that's what they fall in love with these quarterbacks like Richardson. I told Richardson was going to be, I was laughed out of a show. I did a Colts show when he got drafted. I got laughed off the show because I said Richardson was going to be a huge bust. And he is, because all the guy can do is throw 70 yards down the field somewhat accurately. But at Florida, he had one game I watched. He was 7 for 28. I mean, I could have done that. I mean, that's horrible. So, and he had a game last year, 7 for 25, and he threw 3 touchdowns past 40, yards.
I'm like, I think I could go out there and throw it up and get 5 or 6 catches. It's just like,
horrible.
Man, Richardson just doesn't have the accuracy. And I really like your take on the defense, and Steichen's a good coach. It feels like the point guard analogy, like quick take. They've got him playing point guard. And that's what I want to see with my team. But they've got Daniel Jones in the right element, and he has enough mobility that you can tap into that. But Taylor's taken the pressure off of him so much. And you've already got, even as a rookie, you've got Tyler Warren playing top 5 ball at his position. Pittman is not top 5, but good enough. And then you got Taylor, probably the best running back in the NFL. So you got 2 guys, top 3 to top 5 at their position, taking the weight off him. And you got the offensive line playing good. Defense is pretty solid. So all you got to do is have the guy, just being a Chris Paul out there. What are your thoughts? Do you think on the Colts, do you see what's the ceiling?
Super Bowl contender. I think in AFC,
AFC.
Yeah, the AFC, every team is flawed, right? All the top teams, the Patriots, you're like, okay, are they as good as we think they are?
For real.
The Bills have a terrible run defense. They got, exposed by Sean Tucker of all people last week. The Chiefs are, this weird team lacking an identity. The Broncos they have an offense that runs super hot and cold. I know their defense is elite. But if you look at the Colts, they're probably the most complete team. They have the biggest question mark is the quarterback, but you kind of look at the Eagles last year. It's like a lesser version of the Eagles last season, where you have a quarterback that's mobile enough. He's not going to throw for 300-400 yards most games, but he's mobile enough to attack you with his legs. He's big, he's strong, he's more athletic than people think. You have a guy that's playing like the best running back in the NFL, on pace for 2,000 yards, just like Saquon was last season. The receivers aren't as good, but the tight end is probably better. And you have an elite level defense. They go out and get sauce to improve that defense. So on paper, if Daniel Jones is this version of Daniel Jones, then I don't see why they can't win the Super Bowl this season with everything that they have. I mean, I know he's had some bad games, but he's also had some really great games too. So we got to give him credit for that as well.
Khaled said it also. I didn't want to interrupt you, but Khaled said it also. The team to watch out for is starting to get healthy is the Ravens. The Ravens are not out of it. And I'm telling you that with their healthy offense, that team still is dangerous, especially on the road. Those guys have proven they can win on the road. And I think that they are a dangerous team. I think the Bills are done. Their defense is horrible. And I just don't
Chiefs
like the Bills. Yeah, I think the Bills and the Chiefs are done. It's the changing of the guard. And so it's going to be interesting.
Well, that pivots to my next question. Okay. And really quick, my take on the Colts, I think they have a chance. I really like this comment. He's a more mobile Ryan Tannehill. I still want to see Jones do it in the playoffs. Like, I'm wondering in a year, what are the odds that we're going to think Daniel Jones, is it going to be another Baker Mayfield situation? Or is it going to be, we're not sure if he's the guy still situation? Like, Darnold was looking great this year, and then he just tossed a game, and he had those moments last year under pressure with Minnesota. So it's Baker, honestly, is one of the few guys that's changed teams in his prime, and it's worked out. That almost never happens. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see a little bit more of it in the NFL, because there's some organizations, like we just talked about, that are so poorly run. You could stick Patrick Mahomes in, and if without the development, you may not see it. Even Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. Like, they needed damn good coaching and damn good situation around them to flourish and become what they became. Like, one of the worries I had with Caleb Williams was the offensive line was just going to let him down. He was going to get hit so much and hold the ball so long that he wasn't going to develop. Situations matter. Like, who is going to do well in, I'm going to be mean right now, not the Raiders. They have some players I like, but like, what's the team? Gosh,
the Jets.
And it's sad because they have Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. So I like feel like that should be better. But yeah, the Jets is a good one. The Jets. That's probably the team. Even the Dolphins are starting to pick it up now. Okay, but let's pivot. You said Ravens. I worry about the D, but I can see it, James. I like that take because they're starting to get hot with Lamar.
That was Khaled's.
Okay.
He said it, and I agree
that
with
was Khaled's. Okay, so who do you guys see as let's do this. Which two teams, it's the AFC Conference Championship week. Which two teams are in the AFC Championship game? Right now, the standings, I'll just read this and I'll go last. It's Denver, New England, and then Indy because they had a bye. And then Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Chargers, Jacksonville. Houston, KC, and Baltimore are actually outside the playoff picture right now by a game. but I don't think that's going to stay. So those are the standings in the AFC. Which two teams are in the AFC Conference Championship? And then we'll pivot to the NFC for a little bit.
Say Colts Ravens. I think that would be a dynamite
That's a
AFC
fun
championship. It would be a lot of fun. It would be exciting. I mean, you kind of have the Colts are like the upstart. The Ravens are the wounded warrior that's coming back. They probably have an easier path than some of these other teams in their division, because the division is a little tighter than some of these other teams. But I think that would be dynamite.
I like that a lot. Nice. Very nice. Good pick, man. James and guys, by the way, I've had a blast today. I needed this with all this stuff. So
good.
You guys have been great. This has been a lot of fun. If you're cool, I'm saying maybe 15 more minutes. We'll hit NFC. James,
Sure.
What's your conference championship? And then let's pick winners, and we'll I got to talk about them, and we'll talk about the NFC a little bit.
I like Denver and the Colts, with the Colts winning. I think the only thing that worries me is that Denver in the winter, I don't even like, I'm a California boy. I don't even like opening the freezer. So playing in the cold in Denver, I've been in Denver when it was cold. It's brutal. So if they get home field advantage, it's going to be awful tough to beat them there. Don't count out the Chiefs. Mahomes is that good. And if they can get healthy and they could get things, because the problem with the NFL is people will pick things and they'll say, oh, no way, these guys are done and all that stuff. But injuries can happen. Things can change. Momentum can change. And the Colts could get, what if they lose 2 running backs or a couple of offensive linemen, and now or a couple of their fast linebackers? I mean, there's so many things that could happen. You just have to be real careful. And that's why you just take it week by week. But I still think the Chiefs are going to be heard from. I think that Mahomes is not going to let them go out this way. I think all that Travis Kelce is done. I think Travis Kelce is kind of done. He's an okay player now, but he's not the same. His blocking has struggled, so that's hurting them. But boy, I'm telling you, the Colts I really like.
Okay, so I agree. Here's the odds. I didn't read this earlier. The Chiefs, this is on Yahoo. It's through BetMGM. The odds on here, the Bills and the Chiefs are tied still right now, plus 850. The Colts are third at 1,100. Then the Ravens are fourth. Then the Broncos and the Patriots. And then honestly, I don't know if it really matters after that, because that's a huge drop off after those top 6.
Yeah.
So, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think it's going to be Bills. I think it's going to be Bills Patriots. 2 teams in the same division. I don't trust Denver. Here's the deal. I don't trust Denver. I see something wrong. Like, they just barely win. They're reminding me of KC last year. I love the defense when they're all healthy. It looks Super Bowl contender-ish. Bo Nix reminds me of Tim Tebow. He's definitely better, but sometimes he takes 2.5 hours to get going. It's a lot like
he's Russell Wilson. He's the new Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and that's not good, because Wilson is like Baker. When it's on, it is so Baker's even more extreme. When it's on, it is on fire. But when he's off, it's cold as ice. Yeah. And that's
like 3/4 of that ice, and then fourth quarter, it's money time. It's like, all right, he can run around a little bit.
I'm not a Bo Nix guy. I think he's a little overrated, but that defense is lights out. They are really good.
And Peyton's a good enough coach that it might be enough, James. You nailed it. That's like, it's hard to pick against them, because if it's in Denver, there's something that feels off with them. But if they're the number 1 seed, that's going to be a tough run through. They're tied with New England right now. I like New England. I think they're a year away. And the Colts, the one thing that scares me is Jones going to play this well when they need him in the playoffs? They may not. Taylor might just run over 2 or 3 teams by himself. It's possible. But in the playoffs, even in a weaker AFC, and it's clearly weaker than the NFC to me, like, that's why I can easily see the Colts going through the Super Bowl. The AFC is weak, especially if the Ravens defense keeps playing like this. The Chiefs are 5-5, which we've never seen. They look like they're in trouble. The Bills can't stop a nosebleed in the run.
Yeah.
So it looks open. But I'm going to go with the Pats. I can't believe I'm doing this. Pats and Bills in New England. and that's going to be fun. If the Bills
Yep.
do win that second game and steal that division, that's going to make things very interesting. Josh Allen makes them scary all on their own. But because I wanted to be good around our hour and we barely talked NFC, what do you guys make of Philly? Like, defense is so damn good, it may not matter, but is that offense good enough to take them back to the Super Bowl? Or is the defense just so good it doesn't matter?
I still believe. I
Okay.
know they've had their issues. I think today it came out that AJ Brown is dealing with some knee issues along with some hamstring issues. He did miss a game or two earlier this season, so he's clearly not 100%. So I think they have a couple things in their favor. Obviously, that the defense that you mentioned is lights out. They look just as good, if not better, than Denver, especially with the Jalen Phillips pickup. They have an incredible pass rush, which we know can absolutely dominate games. I think the benefit is that their division is really weak, so they don't have to play,
Yeah.
and they banked some good wins against some contenders recently, so they might not have the inside track on the 1 seed. I still think maybe goes to the Rams, but if you win your division, you at least get a home game in the playoffs. And I think the pedigree, the experience, the Hurts factor, where he's just so cool under pressure. You still have Saquon, and all Saquon needs is a couple seams, and he can break the game wide open. We saw him do that in the snow last year. He just went absolutely crazy. So I still believe in Philadelphia. I know Seattle's good, the Rams are good, the Niners are still healthy, or at least they're healthy on offense, I should say. But I still believe in Philadelphia.
Good answer, man. Good take. Seriously, both of y'all. Awesome show so far.
Mm-hmm.
James, what you thinking of Philly?
Yeah, I agree totally. They're total Philly. They're winners.
Yeah.
They know how to win. They're physically and mentally tough. They never quit. I mean, they are the team. I think that they're the team to beat. The 49ers are like the Chargers. They've just had too many key injuries. They don't have it. Seattle is a little overrated. I don't like Sam Darnold in any way. I think he had a great year and everything, but if you're going to put all your eggs in that basket, I think that's scary. I think Seattle, the Rams are better than Seattle. I think they'll win that division. And I think that Philly's, like Khaled said, Philly has an easy division. Don't sleep on Tampa Bay. If they could get healthy and they could do, Mayfield is just a gutsy guy. They do what they need to do to win, and they've had a rough patch of late, but they have to get healthy. And if they do get healthy, I think I look at them and Philly in the finals and see how they go. Because, like I said, I think Philly is just. I think Philly's going to win it again. I think it's going to be a good game with the Colts. But like I said, I think that Philly is just. I like teams that just know how to win. And they just find a way. Look at what they did with the Rams, and they just find a way. And it's frustrating because their offense plays ugly sometimes. Hurts is not a great passer. He's a good passer. He's a great runner, great leader, and he knows what he's doing. He's very cerebral, very smart. But like I said, I think they're going to win it again, which I'm not a big fan of Philly teams, but I think they'll win it.
I mean, my soon-to-be ex-wife is, so I'm not really a Philly fan right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go Colts.
Go Colts. The one team you left out was the Rams. Do you think they've gotten super close to beating Philly? Do you think that I know I'm ignoring my Packers. I think the defense is good enough. We're about to get Jaden Reed back. I just don't know if I trust my offense. I feel like the defense is almost as good as Philly's, which makes it scary in the playoffs, but I can see why you ignored them. And we got a Bears fan asking about the Bears. I just don't see it yet. I think they're lucky to be 7-3, and that's
they're a wild card team to me. I think they're a wild card team.
Yeah,
I think Green Bay or Detroit's going to win that division, and I don't see anybody from the NFC North making noise in the playoffs. I don't.
But how about all those Oklahoma quarterbacks in the NFL, huh? Go Sooners, huh?
Right?
Hurts, all of them played in the NFL. Baker. So we had some.
Don't forget Caleb.
Was Bradford Oklahoma?
He was.
Remember Bradford was the number. Bradford, I
great.
think in the pros never panned out, but boy, they had Bradford, and he was. There's a guy that stole money. Jeez, he was getting. He
that
got
was
3 huge contracts. And there's what's his name for? I'm so bad on name. The Falcons.
he had
He
a
was for the
50 yeah, he had 50
Vikings
TDs.
forever. He got I think almost 400 grand in or 400 million in what's his
That's
name for
right.
the
Oh, Cousins,
Falcons?
right? Kirk Cousins.
Cousins. Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Bradford threw the 50 TDs in college. I'm sorry, I interrupted. He's the one when they were still doing this. He signed a 6-year, $78 million deal, which
Yep.
doesn't sound like much, but he had 50 million in guarantees. It was the largest contract ever for an NFL rookie in 2010. And then
He broke the system.
yeah, he broke the
Yeah.
system. They were like, no, I know he played in the NFL for 9 years, but
He was average. He was average to slightly below
Yeah.
average. You know, he stuck around for
Boy,
probably
was he
longer
good
than
in
should have,
college, but the problem is what people don't realize is Oklahoma had 3 number 1 draft picks and their offensive line, and Sam Bradford sat back there all day, and he got away. I mean, he just, and in the pros, you got 3 seconds, and if you can't figure it out in 3 seconds, you better either get rid of the ball or start running. And that's
True
the problem
story.
with Sam Bradford is he was getting killed. He got hurt all the time, and that's the problem with him. But boy, in college, White, they had Calvin Murray, who was amazing. They just had so many great quarterbacks in college.
Yeah, I forgot about those names. I like it, man. You know, that's the one thing is I actually don't watch a ton of college, but I do a lot of scouting in the spring, and I think I'm going to start watching a little more college. I just
I love college.
I watch so much NFL. That's my problem. But moving forward, I think I may be having to because I'm getting more into dynasty fantasy football, which you need to know rookies on.
Yeah.
And with the podcast, I'm doing more and more NFL draft coverage, bringing draft people on. So I do a ton of scouting in February and March. I think I'm going to start it earlier this year. Okay, let's do it. Which 2 teams do you see making the NFC Conference Championship? To me, it looks like Rams Eagles. I just the Bucks, and trying to be unbiased about my Packers. I don't think they can go on a run. I don't see the Bears. I don't see the Lions. The 49ers are too hurt. It looks like just Eagles and Rams to me. Like unless Green Bay or Seattle or Tampa get on a run and get healthy. That's it. I can't see anything else. I don't trust the Lions, and Goff outdoors is scary bad. Like the dude,
it's not his fault. He's a California boy. We don't like the snow. We don't like the cold. We're not made for that.
He's just getting. It wasn't all his fault. The offensive line was getting rocked because the Lions stupidly let go of some of their linemen, and it's really killing that team. But the Eagles just were wrecking his offensive line, man. That was.
Oh.
I think we're going to see a lot of that. The Eagles.
Yeah, Golf looked like the kid from A Christmas Story who had all those layers and jackets, and I mean, God, how did he even throw the ball yet so much? That poor kid was dying with the cold.
I love
Cali
it.
boys don't like that stuff, man. We like it warm. So,
and that's my question with Goff. Is it's similar to Jones, but I think it's been proven to me. I love the talent around, but I think if the line, and I think he's a great system QB, but I don't think the Lions are going to achieve their ultimate goal with Goff. I just don't. I hate to be mean. He's a nice guy. He's better when things are good than even Jordan Love. But I think the ceiling with that guy is already what they've achieved. If they had everything perfect around them,
their offensive line is struggling.
It is. Yeah, I've seen quarterbacks win. I've seen teams win with less at QB, win Super Bowls, but I just don't think it's going to happen with the Lions.
It's been a while since that's been a fact.
It has.
I think it's like
even Hurts played well.
Yeah, I mean Hurts is. I mean that playoff run. I mean that Super Bowl, not this one, the previous one. It was probably the best game of his career, with the exception of that fumble. It's such a pass heavy league, like James talked about earlier. That's like. I don't know if you can win with a subpar quarterback anymore, like the old days.
I agree.
Not to interrupt you guys, who has the worst quarterback game of any winning quarterback in the history of the Super Bowl?
Well, I
Peyton
know
Manning.
Trent Dilfer. Oh, Peyton.
No,
Manning.
Yeah, I was
Peyton
gonna go Trent
Manning against
Really?
Denver. Denver against.
Oh yeah.
You remember he threw a
Carolina.
key interception, which he always did in the postseason. He threw a key interception, and they were going to come back, and they went 4 and out. He was 1 for 13 on third down, and Manning was horrific, and he still holds the record for the worst game for a winning quarterback in the history of the NFL.
That's a good. I like these takes. Goff
You
needs a
could
line
win a
when he's
drink
rushed.
on that. Win
That's
a
a
drink on
good-
that in a bar.
I'm gonna bring that one up. And Hurts, when Barkley was shut down, the defense played outstanding, but he played pretty well. And even the Super Bowl last year, he had almost 300 yards total. He was their leading rusher. He had almost 3 touchdowns, or he had 3 TDs, almost 300 total yards. So he can amp his game up when he needs to. He's a weird guy that does. It's like he knows how much he has to do to win.
He doesn't turn the ball over. That's the big thing.
And he doesn't. And he's awesome in the short yardage stuff, which I can't think of anybody else other than maybe Josh Allen that could do that in the NFL right now. So he's got a unique skill set. So like you can ding him, but I mean, dude's a Super Bowl MVP. And like you said, played toe for toe. He played right there with Patrick Mahomes in the first one. Like that's one of the best Super Bowl losing performances outside of Tom Brady that you're going to see with the 500-yard game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Remember Hurts at Alabama? He left Alabama when they got other quarterbacks because they didn't think he was good enough passer, and he didn't hold on to the ball, or he had too many turnovers that they didn't like. So that's why he transferred to Oklahoma. They dumped him, and he went out to prove. And when he got drafted, that was the big thing against him. They couldn't pass. And he became a passer. This guy's just a real gutsy guy, works his butt off, great character. I love him as a quarterback. He's proved a lot of NFL people wrong. And I really like the Eagles. Like I said, I'm not a big Philly guy, but
Tampa, they're good.
Yeah, but like I said, they're gonna now your Packers, to be fair, Love is a very streaky player. And I think they pass the ball way too much. I'd rather have Jacobs with the ball than Love. But I think that also with Love,
offensive line, it's been trash.
Yeah,
it's been
Love when he gets hot, he's pretty to watch because he does have a good ball. But the problem is that's too inconsistent. And Caleb Williams is the same way.
The play calling, I feel like LaFleur might need to give it up, because it's gotten fairly predictable. Like when I can tell that we're going to run 3 jet sweeps a game and 4 receiver screens, and we're going to run 95% of the time on first down, it's kind of like I'm maddening this game, and I could maybe madden it better than what LaFleur is doing. I think he's a good CEO. I think he knows how to motivate players. I think he's good at managing a lot of positions. I don't think he should be the play caller anymore. But I also think I'm tired of the Packers being cheap at receiver. The Vikings have Justin. If we can do the Packer thing really quick, the Packers have their number 1 receiver was Tucker Kraft. And then I love Christian Watson, but he is not a number 1. Jaden Reed, no diss. He's not a number 1. The Vikings have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I think I'd take both those guys over receivers, not Tucker Kraft. The Bears have Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and Luther Burden. Now, I don't know about Luther Burden yet. Got potential, but I would take those other 2 guys probably over anybody on the Packers. Maybe not DJ Moore right now, but probably still. The Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and Sam Laporta. That's just the NFC North. We are by far the worst skill position group, and now you took Tucker Kraft out of it. I got to stop making excuses for Jordan Love because he is streaky, but I love, since we paid the dude, I would love to see Love with some actual weapons. They went out and got the number 1 pass rusher. If they want to be an aggressive Super Bowl contender, they're going to need to do more at receiver. I love Golden, but he trying to be nice here. He needs more time. He hasn't been healthy, and I don't see the 4.2 speed, and he's more of that body type we keep drafting, the 5'11", 6 foot, 205-pound guy. We keep drafting this over and over. And Jason's right. He's not good enough to play calling.
Yeah, there's some stud wide receivers coming out next year in the draft.
There
Big
is
guys that are fast.
ASU kid.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
I think that if they have to draft a wide receiver, but there are some superstars coming out in potential in the first 3 rounds. So there's no excuse next year for them not to pick up another weapon because
And I
that
like I
division
do
is
like him too.
loaded with good
It,
wide receivers.
it is, man, and we don't have the corners, although it's decent, but we make up for it because of our pass rush. But I mean, there's so many strengths on my team where I'm like, we could get in a dog fight with Philly, but do we have enough to like? I agree with what Jason said. He said he's not giving up the play calling. He said we played Philly hard, but to me, you got to be able to put some points up on the board, man. 7 is unacceptable. Like with Josh Jacobs, he was healthy in that game. So that's my Packer soliloquy. I've got
Well,
a
the
Packer guy.
Packers,
I got a Packer
one
guy
more
coming on tomorrow.
yeah, one more thing in the Packers to me is that you have to read the room, and I don't think the Packers read the room. The Packers run like a team that has 70-degree weather all year. And to me, you
Yeah.
have a snowstorm. Why did Bud Grant do so well? Why did all these the Packers of old? Is you play in the snow, you play in cold. You
I
need
know.
to have a ground and pound team that can do a nice short passing game. If you're going to rely on deep passes in the Green Bay weather, you're insane. You've
And they've
got
done
to
it.
have it. Yeah, if you're in the Colts or Detroit or wherever, okay, that's fine. You live in a dome. But they need to be like Philly. They need to be a ground and pound guy with wide receivers that make tough physical catches. And that's why I love their team physically, is that they come at you, they're physical, and that's what I think they're missing. They're almost like a finesse team in a cold area. And to me, that's just a
Doesn't
losing
work, yeah.
formula. Yeah.
I agree. That's a really good take. You guys seriously brought it tonight. I'm not surprised, but it's awesome. James
Caleb
and
told me
Caleb,
he always tells
Caleb,
me what to say, so I just go
Caleb's
by
like
what
here.
he says.
He's like, hey, here's the note cards, and you're gonna talk about how the Packers are a finesse team. I'm gonna let you have that take, and I'm gonna take this one. There you go. I agree. He's right. Devonta Smith would be our number one. Savion looks like our number one, other than Christian Watson. He actually did play well last week. I would love to see Matthew Golden get the ball more. I'm not seeing the speed, and it seems like all we want to do is take deep shots, and then they're so predictable with the run game, and the run blocking hasn't been good enough, James, that there's no holes for Josh Jacobs. He's running into, like, he's getting slammed at the line, and he's such a good running back. Occasionally when he's healthy, he can fall forward for 4 yards, but it's almost like the Philly situation where there's no lanes unless we're playing, the Steelers or something stupid, like a terrible defense. That's Pittsburgh this year. Okay. Let's pivot, because I want to try to be good, get you guys out of here soon. I could talk all night. This is great.
I'm having fun. I don't know about Khaled. He's got more responsibilities than me, but
yeah, I got some kids to put to bed, but I'm doing great. Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap it up in a few minutes. Who do you guys see making the conference championship? And let's do our Super Bowl picks. NFC, who do you got?
NFC, I think it's going to be a rematch of last year. It's going to be Eagles-Rams. Two best teams, the two most complete teams. I know even though Philly's been struggling offensively, I still believe in that pedigree. But I do think the Eagles make the Super Bowl.
The Eagles make the Super Bowl. James, who do you got?
I got Eagles and Colts, and I like the Eagles to win it.
I think the Rams actually beat the Eagles this year, and that's biased, but I really do like the way Matt Stafford's playing. I love Devontae Adams.
The Rams almost beat the Eagles.
Yeah,
the
remember they lost
the
in
last
that
second
blocked field goal.
Second field goal. So
last year in the playoffs
probably should have beat them. Yeah,
they were this close to beating them twice, and I wonder if Philly's going to keep squeaking by the Rams. I think one's going to break the Rams' way. They're talented.
They found a way. Like I said,
I'm going to go Rams. Damn, I guess I'm going. This is really tough. I don't know if the Bills can stop the Patriots' rushing attack. I'm trying to think between Pats and Bills. I'm going to shock. I can't believe it. I think it's too early, but I'm going to go Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. Let's get a rematch from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
2018 rematch.
Yeah, let's do it. And I'll pick in that scenario. I think Stafford gets his second ring. Jason says Packers-Eagles. I don't know if the Packers have enough on offense. I got to see it. Maybe they flip it around. I worry they've lost too many pieces. Tucker Kraft is huge.
That'd be a fun game, though.
It would. I would love to see my Packers make a run. I think that'd be their ceiling, would be the conference championship, but I'd love to see it. They need to make some progress, but I don't know. We'll see. I love the defense, but okay. So who do you guys both have Eagles winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I got one last one for you. Who wins not Super Bowl MVP, but who wins MVP this season?
I think it's Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford. If the Colts, if the Colts get the number 1 seed in the AFC, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor. If they do not, and the Rams get the number 1 seed in the NFC, I think it's going to be Matt Stafford because he's clearly the difference maker on that team. And I think it's going to be almost like a career legacy award. Like, hey, you've been great your whole career, and now we're finally starting to see it. He's finally over 500 for his career. He's leading currently the best team in the NFC. So it's between those two guys.
Do you think that the NFL will actually give it to a running back? Because I think Barkley deserved it last year. Is Taylor's, gosh, he's playing so good. Like, if he breaks some touchdown records, you got to do it, right? That's what I'm like. What does the guy have to do? Get 50 touchdowns? Like, I think he's on pace for like 40. Almost.
I know. Saquon fell just short, but it was like, yeah, I think it was like, all right, it's Josh Allen's turn to win it. It's been a few, he's been on the cusp. It's like, all right, it's not Lamar. Can't give it to Lamar again. Pat Mahomes could probably win it every year when they win the division. But yeah, I just think that the Colts have been like the story of the season, and he's been so much better than everyone else on his team. It's not like you can say, oh, well, maybe it's Daniel Jones. Like with the Eagles, you could say, okay, well, Jalen Hurts had a great year too, but on the Colts, it's definitely Jonathan Taylor doing the carry job. So I think he has the advantage there.
Guys, thank you. I needed a good show with everything going on. This was awesome. James,
absolutely.
What's your
gotta go Jonathan Taylor. If they lose one game the rest of the year, he's going to be the MVP. He's playing so lights out. What I love about him is he's a huge team player. He's always given love to his offensive line.
Yeah.
He's always given credit to everybody else. He doesn't like glory. I love that guy. He's one of the most underrated players. If Indy was in New York, they'd be building statues for these guys. The media would be losing their minds. But because they're in Indy, no one's really saying much. So, like I said, I just really look at the hype they did for the Giants, and they just won 1 or 2, games, and they were losing their minds, the New York media. So, again, I think the Colts are real. Now, the NFL doesn't want the Colts in there because that's a small market team. They would rather have someone bigger. But I think Jonathan Taylor is really he's a special talent. He's been doing it for a while, and I really love those guys. And as long as their offensive line stays healthy, boy, I like their chances to win.
Well, and that seems like a fun sports town to me. Like when the Pacers are good, people love it. Like this year, the Pacers, I know they didn't win it because Halliburton went down. I follow NBA too. But, it's a fun sports town. Like in the 90s when they were good against the Michael Jordan and with Reggie Miller, that's been a fun team. And when Peyton was good, the national media got on board, like because Peyton was so special. I'm wondering if this Taylor Jones Warren thing will be so good for a minute, kind of like the early 2000s Rams, maybe not quite to that level, but close. Maybe the NFL will be like, we got to market the hell out of this team.
I hope there's some good
this
guys.
Level of talent together, and especially because they went all in for Sauce Gardner too, like you said earlier.
Yeah. And look that was a great, and Khaled talked about that was a huge trade. That was, we're going all in. And hey, you got to give a shout out to the Hoosiers. How about the Hoosiers, number 2, man? They're rocking it. And they're going to go to the playoffs.
Indiana's having a fun time in sports right now. I love it. Okay. Because he's got kids, and I told you guys almost an hour and a half.
No, that's all right.
Any final things you'd like to see for the rest of the NFL season? Any final thoughts? And then we'll close up in a few minutes. Khaled, do you want to go first?
I want to see.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's Khaled.
Working on it.
I want to see one team in each conference really like separate themselves from the pack, because like this season's been all about parity and just, teams all bunched up in the middle. I want to see a team really, really just separate themselves and get that 1 seed and just lock it up, because that's more fun to me, is when we have a team to root against in a way. So,
okay. Unless it's your team. Yeah, I agree. It ain't going to be mine. So I understand. I just want mine to make the playoffs. I hope y'all's gets good too. I think the NFL is a more fun league when the Raiders are good. I really do. They've had so many awesome players in history. It'd be cool to see them get back there. And I'm hoping Pete Carroll can turn it around. But if not, hopefully they've got some building blocks. James, what would you like to see? I like your take, man.
I would like to see the Colts really win the Super Bowl. I think it would be fun. I think they're a real team. They have one superstar and they have excellent players. They've got guys that are, and they do have guys that are high-end players, but I just think it would be fun to see a good, wholesome team. There's a lot of scandals going around. There's rumors that the gambling scandal now has NFL players involved in it, and they're getting checked out. So we're talking about, and I told people when these sports sold their soul to the gamblers that they had hated for all these years, now they see the money. It's going to get dirty. And now it is when you got the crime bosses involved with the gambling. I mean, that's kind of bad. But I would really love it to see that. And you're right. People forget that for almost 30 years, the two most popular teams in the NFL in the 60s and 80s up to the 90s were the Raiders and the Cowboys. You either loved them or you hated them. And to see the Raiders fall so bad and to see both those teams really in the way that they are was kind of sad because, boy, they were must-see TV. Everyone watched them. And when you'd go to a mall, everyone would be watching them. So it's really sad. I hope the Raiders, I don't have much hope. Khaled's a nicer person than me and a more, he's young and he's still got the bright hope, and I'm older and I've seen too much.
You're like,
I know
nope.
where the bodies are buried. So I know where the bodies are buried, so I don't have a lot of hope. But like I said, I think that I would really like for the Raiders and Cowboys to do better and for the rest of the year for the sake of their fan bases too, because boy, it's when they're good and both those teams are doing well, the NFL's a happier place. So it's kind of a sad thing to see, but that's my hope. But I'm rooting for the Colts. I hope that they win the Super Bowl. Anybody but Denver. I hate Denver because I'm a Raider fan and I don't like anything in LA. So I hope the Rams lose too. I hope Philly loses too. I don't like Philadelphia. So I don't like much anything, but yeah, I'm all in for the Colts. I really hope they win it. That's what I'd like to see.
I like it. I would like to see my Packers have an offense. That's all I want. Score more than 7 points, score more than 13, and actually field an NFL offense. I would love that. I would like to see the Colts successful. I think they're a lot of fun. There's a question I forgot to ask you earlier. My dog's getting mad at me, so just a few minutes. But really quick, what's your favorite? And this is for both y'all. Your favorite show or interview you've done? Because you told me all the people at the beginning. I want to circle back. What's one that stands out? I know I brought up Emmitt Smith, but you had a list of names.
Why don't you go, Khaled? You've done.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll be here all night. If you're asking James, he's interviewed just about everybody.
He's like, let me check my list here. He pulls out like it's like a Declaration of Independence song.
Yeah.
Florence did it, not me.
For me, it was a former NBA player. This was like when I was first starting, so I was really green and raw. It was Tariq Abdul-Wahad, so he was the number 10 overall pick in the 1998 draft by the Sacramento Kings. So he was a guy that I liked a lot as a kid. He's one of the few Muslim players in the NFL or in the NBA. He's the first French-born player to be drafted in the NBA. Now it's like a very common thing with Wembanyama and Alex Sarr and all these guys. But he was a trailblazer, and he gave me an hour and a half of his day, and he talked about Kobe and defending Reggie Miller and Ray Allen. It was like kind of the golden era of the NBA for someone like me. So that was definitely my favorite so far.
That's freaking cool, dude. Very nice.
That was awesome.
Cool pull. I like it. James, I mean, if you can narrow your list to like,
I'll give you 1.5. I'll give you 1.5, and I'll give you a true crime story with one that was very, to this day, has still freaked us out. The number one was I really loved Emmitt Smith, how nice he was, and also Mick Foley lost his phone, and we had an interview scheduled. And I kept calling him and he wouldn't answer. He calls from his, Nicole, I believe is his daughter. He calls from his daughter's cell phone. I'm like, who the heck is this? So I didn't answer it. And he goes, James, this is Mick and Foley, and I'm really sorry. So I call Mick back. I go, Mick, oh my God. So we did the interview on his phone, on his daughter's phone. He went out of his way. Steve Sharippa from the Sopranos was having his house redone. So we felt so bad. We told Steve, no, we're not going to do it. You know, we're not ABC News or anything like that. He called us back, and he literally made us do the interview with him. And it was amazing. But I will tell you off the air if you guys want to know. We had a celebrity, and it was the first person. I'm not going to say it because I don't know if the celebrity wants to know. We did a celebrity that was very political, let's say, online, and was supposedly they had things that they were being stalked by the government. So we thought, okay, whatever. You're kind of there. I guess they're just kind of out there. So we tried to set up the Zoom, and they called on the Zoom, and it wouldn't work. So I said, I don't get what it's going. So we tried it on all their lines. We even tried to get to use all their phones. And I called the Zoom, and I told him what was going on. And he asked me, he goes, are those phones bugged? Because this is physically impossible.
What?
So we tried for over an hour to connect with this celebrity on all of their phones. She even used her husband's phone. The Zoom guy goes, those have to be bugged because our system bypasses all of the, he was giving me techie jargon. He said, you're either lying to me or this is because this is physically impossible. The only way they could block the signal is if someone's bugging the phone and all of the signals are blocked. And I'm telling you, I think her phones were bugged because
dude, that's wild.
It was the weirdest thing. So
like,
we had to do
you could have given me 20 chances. I wouldn't have come up with that.
And she was so kind that she kept doing it. And we ended up doing the interview on the phone. So Florence did it on the phone, but we're really talking, cool. You hear these crazy stories about, about people, saying the government's after them and all this stuff. But I'm telling you, the Zoom guy goes, this is physically impossible. You can't do it. Those have to be bugged.
I play this horror game that gets kind of freaky, and that's like tripping me out right there a little bit. Like that's some stuff, man.
You know what I actually did is I changed my phone number. I was starting to get freaked out that are they going to bug my phone?
You're like, wait.
Why are you calling this person? I'll tell you off the air if you guys promise never to tell anybody. But yeah, it was very strange because this person had said in the media, and she's a very famous person. She said in the media, there's no way that these phones aren't bugged. She goes, I'm hearing beeps. I'm hearing things. Things are happening and some calls don't go through. Some calls are blocked. She goes, I've had the phone company come out. They said they don't know what I'm talking about. The phones are fine. So yeah, that was our weirdest interview. That was crazy.
Well, that is a story that I didn't expect. What? That's crazy, man. Seriously. Yeah, Khaled, I understand you got to go. Dude, it was an honor meeting you. Really quick, can you tell everybody where your guys' show is? I'll do my final plug and we'll bounce.
Yeah, you can find the 4040 Vision podcast on all the major platforms at 4040 Vision Sports. So youtube.com/ at 4040 Vision Sports. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff. And then James and I, like he said, we do our weekly NFL show on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time, so 5 p.m. Eastern. We just talk ball, have a lot of fun. So check both of those out.
Cool, man. If you guys ever need a guest, I'd love to. This was great. Seriously.
Absolutely. We're the Forum Celebrity Podcast. You could follow Florence and I. You could follow Florence on Twitter at Florence Carmela, and then me at Real James Pat. And if you go onto YouTube, you could check it out and just put in the Forum Celebrity Podcast. And we'll be right there, and you could check out some of our crazy. We do a lot of true crime. We did a lot of Diddy stuff, and it was interesting stuff, and that was a story in itself, some of the information we found out. So a lot of fun stuff. We try to get the in-depth stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
I love it. And you guys can see me here. I'm not on this Friday because I'll be going out of town, but I've got a special, I haven't announced it yet. Ike Packer's podcast is coming back on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So I've got a Wednesday show, and I'll be out of town next week. So thank you both. I would love to do this again, and
let's do it.
I'd love to hop on. I appreciate your time.
We'll have you on in December. We'll get you on. We'll see what dates, and we could have you come on our show.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great. I'll message you right after, and this will be up on Spotify later tonight. It's on YouTube now. You guys can see this on Twitter. You know where to find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the socials. And thank you to SportCoin and Undefeated Live for sponsoring this. I forgot to do it at the beginning. Appreciate you guys. Thank you both for your time. Thank you, Jason, and everybody for watching. I appreciate you guys. Fun Football Podcast. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone
guys.
listening.